Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Thursday, June the 23rd. And as always, every Thursday, I'm joined by Mr. Doug Upstone of DocSports.com. Doug will also be joining us during football season on Monday and Thursday. So we get the privilege of talking to him twice a week as he's putting the straps on the summer months so he can unwind and recharge just like a lot of us do during this time of year. But Doug, how are you, my friend?
Well, speaking of rewinding and recharging, as soon as we're done, I actually already have my swimming suit on, so I'm ready to go.
Okay, yeah, what it's 120 degrees there today?
No, it's a very comfortable 104 or so. So or actually, or it's because the average is like 106 now. So it's basically what it should be, and a little more humid right now already, which is unusual.
You probably go swimming there 12 months out of the year, Doug. If
I don't.
All right.
For what it costs to heat a pool, no.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's out of it. But no, but it's this time now through into October, without a doubt.
Some shocking news in the NFL, specifically speaking, the Baltimore Ravens. Not only did they lose one player, but they lost a icon in the last day yesterday. And Jalen Ferguson, the 26-year-old former third-round draft choice out of Louisiana Tech, passed away. And then, of course, the always popular Tony Siragusa, who played his college ball at Pitt and started his career with the Indianapolis Colts, and then most notably ended his career successfully with the Baltimore Ravens. Just a terrible day for sports fans in general, specifically the Baltimore Ravens organization, Doug.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, the other thing too is I guess you don't hear as much anymore what has happened to these people, or you don't hear it till much later. But it's just it's a tragedy yet again. Just something in the sports world, and for Ravens fans in particular. And Siragusa was he was a big personality.
Yeah, he was larger than life personality. Yep. With no pun intended, because he was a very large man.
Right. But yeah.
But I mean, he was, I used to love him as a sideline reporter when he worked with Kenny Albert and Troy, Daryl Johnston.
Daryl Johnston, yep.
Yeah. So, it's too bad. We need more people like Tony Siragusa, and that's not to make light of the young man, Jalen Ferguson. Just the absolute tragedy at 26 years old when you're in the prime of your life. It's just totally unexpected. Anyway, to move on to more positive things, let's talk Major League Baseball, folks. We will have 2 Major League Baseball free picks for you at the end of the show, and those picks will come in games played on Friday, June the 24th. But before we get to that, let's talk about a couple Major League Baseball betting topics. Doug, I was talking to you off air, and I'll mention it again, and I'll let you elaborate on it. But I probably made more Major League Baseball run line picks at this point of the year than I have on any other occasion throughout my 20-year career. And not to beat a dead horse, we've talked about this time and time again, but I'm just getting sick and tired of every day. I look at the daily odds, and it seems like over half the board is money line favorites of -150 or greater. So I've, tried to, as you like to say, evolve. You have to in this business. Otherwise, you're not going to last very long, or you're not going to continue to be successful. And just your thoughts in that regard.
Yeah, I think it's really, I mean, there's so many bad teams. Okay, you can make the case, I should say, as that, and this is not to get political, but you can make the case is that baseball right now is a lot like what's going on in our country. There's basically like 2 classes of people. Okay, from that standpoint, you got all the top end teams, and you have a lot of bad teams, and not many in the middle, or not as many as what we're used to seeing in the middle. So from that standpoint, I think that's just it makes it, from a handicapping standpoint, makes it very difficult. And I know you have always tried to stay under 150 or
Yeah.
done whatever you can.
Yeah.
I generally speaking have, I mean, I've kind of always set it up 150, maybe with a few, unless I really like something, at 160 or 165. And then after the midpoint of the season or the All-Star break is that I would then bump it up to 165. Okay.
Right.
And that's just pretty normal. But, in today's, what we're looking at, I mean, it's not, there's been a few days you can look at it, for example, you'll find 10 or 11 games that are minus 170 or higher.
Yeah.
So, and so then the fact that, a third of, or just under a third of games end on one run. So now, which I think I've mentioned before, but you have to then, some of those games you're even looking at, they're going to go against you. So you have to try and figure out which ones aren't. So I have started to take the approach of, I'm not going to go 2-1. Okay. So minus 200 or higher on money line plays. But, before I even say that, the other thing that comes into play, Ross, what we're talking about here, for example, like the Los Angeles Dodgers today, I think they were 210 on the money line today against the Reds, but it was 140 on the run line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not that it shouldn't be, because that's the right, it's the right number to put it at, but not you're giving higher odds and a spread against you, so this is just what's going on. So I'm just starting to take the approach of, I'm just not going to worry about that. If I think the game's going to win and it's less than 2-1, so I don't have to win 3 games to make up for 1 loss.
Right.
I'm just going to start firing if I really like the game. No, I'm not going to make it, like your 10-star plays for me, 6, 7, or 8 unit plays.
Sure.
From that standpoint, I'm not going to fire those.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Because I mean, if you lose, you get crushed.
Yeah.
But for smaller plays, as you say, it only matters if you lose.
Yes, exactly. The
So-
juice only counts when you lose.
Right.
But I got that I have not evolved from. What I have evolved to is not being hesitant to use the run line.
Right.
And you talked about the LA Dodgers, and I know that you have more on this, but the LA Dodgers, 75% of their wins this season have come by 2 runs or more. Now, I know a lot of final scores fall on a 1-run decision. I mean, baseball is notorious for that. So it's not quite as simple as you think, but you want to look at some dominant teams like the Dodgers or dominant pitchers. For example, Joe Musgrove, he's 11-1 in his team starts this year. 9 of those 11 wins by the Padres have come by 2 runs or more. And he has also gone, I don't know, all 12 of his starts have been of the quality variety, which means he's gone 6 innings or more in each start this year and has allowed 3 runs or fewer in each start. So those are the types of things I take a look at and try to utilize when making a decision in that regard. But, you had more on the Dodgers, how they do against bad teams as well. Correct, Doug?
Yeah, well, I get a few different teams I can throw at you here from that standpoint, and it just goes to the point of exactly what we're talking about. For example, now the last I looked today, the Dodgers were ahead 8-1 against the Reds, but going into today, they are 14-3 on the run line, playing against a bad team in this case that has a win percentage of 38% or lower, and they have been beating them, Ross, by 4 runs per game. Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean, total domination. And the other thing that you're talking about is that not only dominant teams, but also looking to play against bad teams, because like the Cincinnati Reds, who they're happening to be playing today on Thursday as we talk, the Reds are 1-13 against the run line against National League teams that allow 3.5 or fewer runs a game.
Wow.
They're losing those games by 4.8 runs a game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that, and we know how bad Oakland has been at home. Well, guess what? This year against the run line, 4-18 as a home underdog, losing by 3.7 runs per game.
Wow.
I mean, those are just 3 examples. There's many more of those types of things. So it's just, you have to search these things out is basically what you're talking about here. And you try to find the best value that you possibly can, so that you're not overpaying. But if something, with the disparity of the teams, I think it really you have to really consider the run line more and more often, or as you and I haven't really delved into it. I'm not going to this season to change everything that I do, but in the future, I'm going to have to start looking, if this is the way baseball is going to be for a while, looking at more totals.
Yeah.
Which I know you do.
I always did, you know what I mean? But
Right.
even more so now, my adage was always, Doug, when you eliminate, I know a lot of guys don't like to play totals, and I get that. Like Chip Chirimbus, who's on every Friday with us here on this podcast. He's not a totals player, but I've told him, Chip, you have to start rethinking. I know you've been doing this a long time, but you eliminate totals. To me, Doug, you're eliminating half the board. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
Instead of, if there's 15 games that day in Major League Baseball, there's 30 possible picks between money line and totals. That's not even including the run line. Okay. So if you eliminate half the board and then you go to the money line side of it, and now over half the board is money line favorites of minus 150 or greater, now you're really limiting what you could do, unless you started dabbling and making your money line parameters higher, like you just alluded to. And even then, it still puts you in a precarious position. But you got to, here's the thing. Us picking minus 160 or minus 170s is going to be a lot better than some guy who bets every other day and tries to do it himself. Okay. Because
Right.
we're just not looking at, okay, they're minus 170, they're supposed to win. We're looking at other factors above and beyond that. Obviously, if they're minus 170, minus 180, there's a good reason why, and looking into the numbers and looking into the situation. So it's a double-edged sword. But yeah, my run line picks 9-2 with my last 11. My total's 9-5 in the last 14. So it's working. Okay. So
Right.
even with an 0-3 night last night, still 15-10 with the last 25 in Major League Baseball. It happens, and that's why between me and you and anybody else who's on this channel, I won't bring anybody on unless they're transparent. Look, when you go to a restaurant, they're not going to tell you, we had 3 people get food poisoning yesterday. Okay. You just don't advertise those types of things. However, a credible restaurant owner, if you walk in and say, I heard 3 people had food poisoning here yesterday, will come clean and say, yes, that did happen. This is what we did to alleviate that problem. And going forward, we've really minimized that chance of it occurring again. Okay. Same thing when it comes to sports handicapping. In terms of being transparent. No, I don't want to lead off the show, but hey, I went 0-3. I got a 3-game package today. I mean, that's just not business smart. But, I will admit when I have a bad day, and I know you do too as well, Doug. And when we're having a rough go, we've said it on many times over the course of the last year and a half or so that we've done this together. So, I mean, your take on transparency in this business, or the lack thereof.
Yeah, well, two things. First of all, on the transparency, I think it's a must. Okay, yeah. If you want to be successful, you want to do stuff, you have to be. And if you're not, like I say, you don't go out and just say all the time that I'm on a 10-day losing streak. I mean, that's like I said. I mean, you're still. I mean, it's no different than a salesman walking into, and I've mentioned this before, but walking into a place and it says, okay, how good is your product? Is the question. Oh, it's okay. Okay, it's not that great, but I'd really like you to buy it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to do that. So yeah, you're still selling something, but the idea is to provide as much possible value with what you're selling. And hey, you know what? If you're not going great, well, you know what? today's a new day. Maybe something better is going to come my way today. And so if that happens to be the case and somebody wants to buy it, then that's exactly what they should do. Okay. From that standpoint, I also wanted to bring up one other quick point, and
Sure.
that we, talking about what we were just talking about before, something that actually, I've started to delve into a little bit, and I'm not going to bet, or I'm not going to also not put, people's, let's just say, on for totals on other things. But one of the things that I'm considering more and more starting to look into is specifically on totals, but not game totals. I had mentioned earlier this year, and I've had some success doing the first inning, okay, over unders. So I've done that. And another, player props are extremely popular right now, and they're continuing to grow. I'm talking about baseball specifically right now, but they continue to grow. So my thought, and even my advice on this, and for those that might be interested and are running into the same types of problems that we are looking at these money lines, is if you like a team or a couple, a team in a division, and you're a hardcore fan, you probably know everything about all the teams in your division, okay, plus your own team. So that being the case, when these odds come out, look at some of the various ones. If you're into it, the players, how they've been hitting, how they've been pitching, and that could be another avenue doing totals. But it's still the same bet, or theoretically should be. And so check those things out if you don't want to go into team totals, and then so you're narrowing what you're looking at, but at the same time you're doing something you're very familiar with.
Yeah. I mean, I had a discussion with Johnny Detroit, who runs things over at Wager Talk Media. And, I said, John, I don't know what it is. I'm seeing more and more guys that are volume players. And I just don't know for the life of me how somebody would invest money into a guy on a subscription plan that's putting out 11 to 15 plays a day. And he says, yeah, I get what you're saying, Ross, but, I've had several discussions with some of the American sports books here, and they're telling me that the prop plays have become ever so popular. And if you look at a lot of these volume players, it's not that they're playing money lines and totals, is they may play a couple of those, and then they'll mix in 8 to 10 prop plays. Even then, I'm not a big proponent of a volume player, but it goes hand in hand to what you're saying. I would just be real careful when you see a guy like that, not to condemn anybody who does so, because there are some volume players that do very well.
Yes.
Guys go 6 and 6 in a day and still make good money because they catch some plus money props, but if you're going to get involved with a volume player, then you need to lower your amount that you play daily, because I don't care how good you are, somewhere along the line, those volume players are going to have 2-3 bad days in a row, and that could deplete your whole bankroll. For example, if you're dealing with me and Doug, and we're putting out 1 to 3 plays a day on average, especially during baseball season, I don't, once in a while I'll go over that, but on the average, that's where we're at. And I'm pretty sure Doug will speak on this further, but you want to avoid those types of situations, playing too many games in the same day. And when you do that, like I said, lower your amount you're playing per game. And when you're dealing with guys like Doug, if you're paying us to pick winners for you, and you're playing $100 a game, I'm being hypothetical because we have players playing a hell of a lot more than that, most of them anyway. You can't go and treat the way you play with our picks compared to a volume handicapper, because you'll go broke if you catch a guy having a bad week right off the bat, Doug.
Right. Yeah, no, and I agree. I mean, you either have to have a larger bankroll that you are, and it would be no different than, playing the stock market, where you're playing, let's just say, more risky stocks where you're looking to make a big score, and you're going to have ups and downs. And that's exactly the same type of thing with that type of person. There's nothing wrong with them doing that. That's what they're supposed to know. And I'm going to presume that's what they do know from that standpoint.
Yeah.
But you're going to have more ups and downs, just because of the sheer volume, that can occur. And I always remember, Ross, it literally was, I think, the very first college football Saturday I ever did, okay, on my own, okay, my own website, everything else. I was ready to go, had lots of things, put stuff out there. I went 1-9,
Yeah.
and I was ready to stop.
Yeah. Dose of reality, right?
Right. It just was like, oh my God, I'll be
Yeah.
chasing this all year. I'll never make it up. And it's a natural thing to think from
Yeah.
that standpoint. But you do, you figure it out, and everything else takes a little while, a lot of times. But still, so yeah, you have to know going in that that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, the key there is not panicking. The key there is saying, you know what, I'm in this for the long haul. Now, if you have a handicapper, I would say that you want to invest money in and you're playing on a daily basis. Okay. If you're not somebody that plays daily and likes to dabble in once in a while, yeah, you buy daily packages. Obviously, if you look at either of our subscription prices, we're going to reward you for investing into us long term as opposed to daily, and the prices will be indicative of such if you break it down on a daily basis. But again, folks, you want to be smart is what I'm trying to say. It's money management is a key, and if you don't exercise a good money management plan, have a bankroll in place, don't play any more than 3 to 5% on any one play in your bankroll. You shouldn't get yourself in a lot of trouble when dealing with guys like us. Agree?
Agreed.
Okay. Now, having said that, since we've got long-winded on this particular subject, but again, hopefully, folks, this isn't all about, this show is not all about just picking winners. Okay. We want to educate you. And there's a lot of new people out there since the legalization of sports gambling is in many states now, not in the state of Nevada, just in the state of Nevada. There's a lot of novice people out there. And we hope that by listening to this program, that you become a smarter sports bettor today than you were yesterday. And every time you watch this, the same applies. So anyway, Doug, you got a free pick for us in Major League Baseball.
I do. And we're going Friday night. We're going to the south side of Chicago, where the Baltimore Orioles are going to be in Chicago. This will be game 2 of their 4-game series on Friday night. The schedule starting pitchers are Kyle Bradish, who is 1-4 with a drumroll 7.38 ERA for the Orioles, and Mike Kopech is 2-3 with a 2.38 ERA for the White Sox. Now, the Birds Bradish, I saw him pitch earlier. I've seen him pitch lately. He's lost his confidence. He is really struggling with command. His whip is now 1.77. This right-hander, he's conceded, this is hard to believe, 64 hits in only 46 in the third innings. And get this, Ross, against right-handed batters, they are hitting 402 against them.
Wow.
402.
Stack your lineup, folks. Stack your lineup.
So Kopech is just the exact opposite, okay, as the mound counterpart. He's only given up 31 base knocks in 56 2/3 innings, and his whip is under 1. Now, the Pale Hosts came into this year, high expectations, young, talented club that won the AL Central last year. Injuries have certainly curtailed their offense and their starting pitching. But if you've watched the White Sox this year, or if you're a fan, there's been a ton of blunders in the field with errors and doing other things wrong, along with poor base running. Baltimore has played, I think, somewhat better than expected. But I think this is a big weekend and a focus for the White Sox, because there's an opportunity in a 4-game series to get over 500. So on Friday night, I'm going to recommend take the Chicago White Sox minus the current 155 over the Baltimore Orioles to get the job done and take game 2.
Yeah, I'm not a big proponent of that high number, but having said that, your supporting evidence certainly makes a good case for that. You know what I mean? Yeah, talk about the White Sox base running. I was watching one of their games the other night. They had first and second with nobody out. They're down 2 runs, and Tim Anderson, one of their better players, was on first, and he got picked off by the catcher. So it's just like that takes you. It really puts a damn. Now you get the next guy out, and you got 2. Now you got 2 outs, a man on second. You know what I mean? It takes you right out of things. But They've been their own worst enemy this year, but that's a team that's very talented if they put it all together and when they're healthy, a whole different team. So good luck with that, Doug. The White Sox minus 155 over a much improved Baltimore Orioles team, but still a bottom of the barrel when it comes to Major League Baseball teams as a whole. Anyway, Philadelphia Phillies at the San Diego Padres, I'm going to look at, and it's going to be Aaron Nola, the right-hander, going for the Phillies, while the San Diego Padres will go with left-hander Mackenzie Gore. And that game goes at 9:40 p.m. Eastern time on Friday evening. Right now, the Philadelphia Phillies are a minus 120 money line favorite on the road. And the total in this game is 7.5. And keep in mind, folks, these lines are subject to change. We are taping more than 24 hours in advance of these games. So depending on when you view the video, those lines are subject to change. Aaron Nola, as I alluded to, his last 3 starts, he's been absolutely terrific, Doug. During those outings, a 0.78 ERA and an 0.65 whip, and more importantly, averaging 7.7 innings pitched per outing. Why do I mention that? It's because the Phillies bullpen has been erratic for many years now. So anytime you could cover up a little bit for your bullpen by your starting pitcher going a longer distance, it gives you a better opportunity to win and less of a chance to fail. It sounds easy, but it's not. The last 4 on the road for Aaron Nola, 7.8 innings pitched per start. And he's just been terrific in those outings with a less than 1 ERA and a 0.64 whip during that course of time. The Phillies, not great on the road, but still 17-17, and they average 5.1 runs per game. The Phillies have hit more home runs on the road than at home, which surprised me when I saw that today, Doug, because as we know, the ballpark in Philly is a bandbox and a hitter-friendly park. But that's not the case. The Phillies in the 34 road games have smacked 49 home runs. And like I touched upon, averaging over 5 runs a game. And that's a pretty good sign when you're facing a starting pitcher like Mackenzie Gore, who was enjoying a very good year up until his last 2 starts. And somewhere along the line, he hit the wall in that regard. And his last 2 starts, 6 1/3 innings pitched total, allowed 14 earned runs, 14 hits, and walked 7. And for those of you keeping score at home, these are off the chart numbers, a 1991 ERA and a 332 whip. And I could tell you right now, if I put Doug Upstone on the mound tomorrow, his whip wouldn't, and his ERA wouldn't be that high. The Philadelphia Phillies, 13-9 against left-handed pitchers. The Padres at home, they're better on the road than at home, believe it or not. Now, they're not bad at home, 20-13, but they're 24-14 on the road. And part of why they're not winning at the same rate at home than they are on the road is the fact they're averaging less than 4 runs scored per game at home. The Padres, 7.5 games better than the San Diego Padres in the standings, yet the Padres are 7.5 games better than the Phillies, in the standings, yet it's the Philadelphia Phillies that are a road favorite in this game. It's never that easy, folks, and they're begging you to take the underdog here. I'm not falling for the bait. I'm going with the Philadelphia Phillies minus 120 at the San Diego Padres on Friday evening, June the 24th. And Doug Upstone, he likes the Chicago White Sox minus 155 over the Baltimore Orioles. Doug, before we go, tell the folks where they can find you, how you've been doing, what you got coming up, my friend.
We have the, I don't know the score because, Ross, I give you my full attention, so I don't know what the score of the game is. But right now, Major League Baseball going today, I had the Los Angeles Dodgers on the run line. So if I hit that one, they were ahead 8-1 last I looked. That would mean 6 winners in a row. Okay, the last 3 days.
All right.
And so we're trying to build on that. And actually tonight, Thursday night, it's a night game. There's only 3 tonight, but I have a 7-unit play. So one of my top plays of the month going tonight. So that's available. 25-16 in the last 41. So getting in a nice improve. Okay. And so just see if we can keep the momentum going here. And like I said, I'm available at Doug Upstone at DocSports.com. Last year, I was the #1 capper at Docs in baseball. I'm trying to get there. Okay. Just got to keep working at it, from that standpoint.
Absolutely.
So we have that. We have the USFL playoffs start this weekend. Okay, so I'm 66% or 66.6% in the playoffs, or excuse me, in the regular season, ready for the playoffs. I've already done my homework, got my pick ready to go. And Canadian football, I mean, we're scraping a little bit here, no question. There's not a lot of choices, but Canadian football, 11-7, dating back to last year, had a tough loss last week. Plan to bounce back. I'm going to have 2 plays going this weekend, so ready to go with another exciting weekend of sports betting. Ross, what do you got going?
Hey, you know what? Like I touched upon earlier, Major League Baseball 0-3 day yesterday. However, still 15-10 with my last 25. That's good for 60%. My Major League Baseball run line picks 9-2 with my last 11. My Major League Baseball totals 9-5 with my last 14. Also, folks, my Major League Baseball 10-star top plays. I'm very selective when I put those out. I never give out more than one of those in a day, and sometimes I'll go several days without giving one of them out. But when I do put them out, you need to pay attention because I'm 6-2 this year with those picks, and also 48-25 since the start of last year, which is good for 66%, folks. And I don't give out big chalks. So a lot of good things happening. rbwins.com guaranteed on my daily and multi-game daily packages. If you don't make a profit, I'll match whatever your purchase price is and credit your account, and you can use that money any which way you like. And no, Doug, if you buy a $149 package and you and you got $100 coming to you, I'm not going to send you the $100. Okay, you're going to get it in your account. So like Chip Chirimbus, I had to tell the same thing. So you guys are smart asses. Anyway, so there you go, folks. rbwins.com, DocSports.com. Until the next time, for Doug Upstone and Ross Benjamin, we'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Good luck and God bless, folks.